Hey, Jess Martinson here with Jeff Saran, SureCoat Systems Live, and my apologies, guys. I was actually out on a job site, and Jeff had to rouse me, so a little traffic, and anyway, we're running late today. That's my fault. I was out on a job site. So, welcome back. Today we talked about we're going to talk about the roof substrates that the systems can be applied over. So today we're going to talk about the roof substrates that we run into most of the time, and I think fortunately and by because it was planned that way, we can pretty much restore, recover, recondition, seal, however you want to look at it, weatherproof, I guess is a good word, most of the existing substrates that are out there.
Right. Yep. Want to go through the substrates?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, we have our cap sheet gravel type roof. It has granulated, granules on it. Our system bonds very well to the old, and even if it's a new application, we just clean it, and you can also apply over the top of that. We also have our single ply, different single plies like TPO, EPDM, Hypalon, PVC. We've had great success as far as coating over those substrates. Bonds very, very well after cleaning. We also have our tar and gravel, and we've come up with some ways about profiling. A lot of tar and gravel roofs out there, you know how that goes. A lot of people don't want to tackle those, or the owners are just freaked out when they all of a sudden see the price for their tear off and get rid of that, and it's just a lot of money. But we've come up with some ways. We'll talk a little bit about that probably in a later episode about our tar and gravel applications. We also have metal roof. You can do metal roof, R-panel type roofing, gutters. It bonds very well to metal. And then we have our concrete substrates, which is a lot of concrete roofs going up there, and it either had a coating or a system over the top, and that's damaged, and they had to remove it down to the substrate, and we have an application for that too as well. And also the foam. We have foam. That's one of the first, I think, when you started doing these, was going over those foam roofs. So that's the various substrates that we can go over. I'm going to have Jess kind of elaborate on the different types of roofs and some of the applications over the top of them.
Yeah, so those are basically the six basic substrates that we see here in California as well as across the country. I know there's a couple of areas of the country that you see more of one type of roof than the other. There's a lot of places in the middle of the country where you see a lot of tar and gravel.
Yep.
We notice that as we travel and talk to our customers. But not to bore you guys, but let's do real quick. We'll just touch on these systems. So the cap sheet or built-up roof system, that was really the first system that we did all the testing on, and we had a couple of really ugly roofs that we have pictures of. I mean, in the beginning, there was one of them we did a church where these people, I felt bad when we met these folks. They really didn't have very much money, and the roof was in such poor shape. I really wasn't sure if we could save it with the system or not. Yeah. But we did. Their Sunday school rooms, and those things lasted another 7 years, and they were horrible. I mean, they were really bad. And we had to go back after that 7th year and do a little bit of extra work. But that was with the understanding that they didn't have a lot of options and a lot of money, and we made it work. We made it work for them, and they're still good customers of ours. So a lot of these cap sheet roofs also are the ones that generally have the worst ponding, in my opinion. Yeah. Those in the tar and gravel roofs, right, have the biggest ponds. And one of the things that really kind of inspired me to get a quality coating is that these cap sheet roofs have a lot of ponding, and in the beginning there were several elastomeric type coatings on the market, and we were seeing these, and the building owners were complaining. We were doing other projects for them, and they were complaining this stuff, they just put it on or had it put on, and it was peeling off, and they had leaks back in the same place. Yeah. So that's one of the things that really motivated me to get out of the industry that was already making these products and go somewhere else. And that's how we ended up with the marine people. And they're the ones that came up with the correct resins that that were water-based and ended up being waterproof, and we still have the only product like this. So it was really designed for those cap sheets with all the ponding. And there's millions and millions of square foot of that applied all across the country. So and I know you get those phone calls every day.
Yep, every day.
So very, very, very successful. That cap sheet system's been very successful, and I personally have, I have millions of feet of that all over the state of California that has my name and license on it, and we just don't have problems with it, guys. It's awesome. So single ply, that's the next one. So we're actually starting a big project for the state of California. Probably in about 2 weeks. We got authorization today, and they've got a bunch of single ply roofs now that are about 15 to 17 years old, and they're just wearing out. So those of you guys that work on these single plies or you work around them, if you've seen them enough, you know what happens is the UV is really what ruins them.
Yep.
And now they've got a building where the water, when it rains here, the water sits on those, and it goes right through them. So.
We have that AQMD building too that's been down for quite a while now. It's coming up for a recoat real soon.
Yeah, so that was the first really large single ply project that was done with the SureCoat material, and that roof is 15 now, and it's got a bunch of solar on it. And actually, Jeff did the inspections and stuff.
Yeah. It's holding up great.
Yeah, the updates for their roof budgets and all that, and that roof's performing really well. So there's times when we actually use that roof for a showpiece to show contractors or developers or building owners. We have pretty good access to that building for the most part, and that roof's been awesome. They had a solar fire on that. Well, they've had 2 of them actually, and kind of damaged some of the roofing, and it was able to be put back together. Because the SureCoat material bonds to itself so well, you just got to overlap it properly, and that roof's been tied back together, and you can't find it other than the coating's a little bit cleaner and shinier. So it works great for the single ply, especially if it's old and degraded a little bit. It works great.
Yeah, we run into a lot, with the single ply with the TPO, especially we're looking on the East Coast and in those areas where they're putting the single ply down, and those areas, and it's just we've been blessed to be able to come in there and recoat over the top of it. A lot of times you'll get a lot of wear and that, and or loose areas and that, but after cleaning and just going down and fasten those areas, it just holds up really great.
Yeah, if you guys have a project like that, and the existing single ply is loose, or there's some tears in it, or there's some issues with it, there's a good chance it can still be saved. We saved another one of the state roofs that had a bunch of long tears, like 30-foot long rips in it, that we were able to put back together and seal it for them to keep the water out until they get a budget.
So seams, that's what we got to watch out for them seams.
Yeah. So if you have an issue like that, if you have a project you're looking at like that, make sure you call in and give Jeff or Monique a call and talk to them about what you got and send some pictures. But again, really successful saving a lot of this stuff, guys. We spend most of our energy every day saving existing substrates if it's possible. So keep things out of the landfill and basically weatherproof it better than what it was for the most part when they started with it. So you got no seams. I know one of the things we talked about this week was adhesion. So, this product over a cap sheet or single ply, metal, all the stuff that, the standard minimum pull on these systems is supposed to be 4 to 5 pounds per square inch as far as a pull test of checking for adhesion. And this product pulls anywhere from 15 to 20 on pretty much everything. It's 4 times the amount, and sometimes you're doing those pull tests, you'll destroy the substrate that it's on, when you start pulling it off. So it adheres really good. So Jeff touched on the tar and gravel a little, and so one of the things that's happened with that, we designed a machine that we can profile those pretty quickly and relatively easily. And that's worked really good. So we have several of those where we've basically taken the gravel off. We'll hand spud the big chunks on it, and then we have this machine it's pretty simple. We like simple, and it's not too expensive, and you can profile those roofs and turn them into something that looks more like a pool table than an off-road race course. So the system goes right over it.
We have the metal roofs here. I know you've done a lot of those. And I work out with a lot of customers that are doing just spraying and really getting a lot of good production out of doing those and making some good money out there. So I'll have Jess explain a little bit about the application over metal.
Yeah, the metal system, same thing, relatively simple. We try to keep it that way. Probably the biggest issue that we run into on the metal is loose or broken fasteners, which we've got to deal with. We've got to deal with that, and sometimes some of the fasteners will have to be replaced once in a while, and that doesn't really matter if you're going to paint the roof or coat it or whatever. But one of the things, the advantage of coating these metal roofs is, one, we have colors, so it can be done in different shades if you choose to do that. And then the other part of it is, to get it on at 20 mil thicknesses, it really affects the difference of the heat inside the building. So we're going to look at a metal processing plant next week. It's 150,000 square feet, and we're going to be able to clean that roof up, make it look like something again, and help keep the heat out of it. There's a bunch of people that work inside that place. So looking forward to that meeting next week. And we did a bunch of old buildings that were built in the 40s that were actually part of the war effort that they're using for production facilities now for current day processing, and there's some of those. As soon as we figure out a good way to share pictures with you guys on this, we'll do it. But those buildings are cool old buildings. One of them's an old aircraft hangar. It was an assembly line, huge building. But those roofs before pictures were horrible, and it looked really cool when it was all done. So it's hanging in there. It's hanging in there good. So give us a ring about that. We can help you with the metal also. So
getting to foam roofs, I know that you've done a lot with the foam roofs, and then I know that we have a lot of customers out there, And that's another thing that we didn't mention, the ponding on those. It's, you're getting like the craters on the moon. So, our system works very well. It's a little more labor intensive as far as going over the top of it due to the way that the foam lays out and sinks and that, but it works very well, bonds very well after cleaning. You can patch those areas, you can kind of float, and instead of tearing all that foam off and refoaming it or redoing it, it's gonna save you some money there too as well.
Yeah, a couple of our oldest projects are foam roofs, and here's what we were seeing with those. One of the property owners that we worked for years had 2 buildings with foam roofs, and he asked me to go out and give him a price on tearing the foam roofs off and basically re-roofing. And I said, well, I have something that I think is going to work really well on there. How about let me take care of the leaking offices. He had 2 offices in the front of that building that were leaking. I said, why don't you let us clean and put the system on that, and let's let it go through the winter. And if it works good, then it's going to save you a bunch of money and a bunch of headaches. And so we did that, made it through the winter, no leaks. He got up there and looked at it and was very pleased. So anyway, long story short, both of those buildings are done. And one of the problems with those buildings is, as Jeff touched on, a guy that sprays foam that's really good, the thing's still going to have little bird baths in it. And if he's not very good, they're going to have big ponds in it.
Yeah.
So the bird baths even, and the standard acrylic systems that are out there, the coatings just come off of those. And as soon as it comes off, those of you that are in the foam business or you have any experience in it, once that foam's exposed to the sun, it turns orange. And once it turns orange, you can dig that out of there with a plastic spoon. It's just not going to last. And then once that happens, once they're exposed and turn orange, the water soaks in like a sponge, and now you've got blistering and all kinds of a mess. So again, we've got a lot of hands-on experience and photos of our own projects as far as the foam goes. And there's a way to profile those. We have some cool tools also that again, if you've got a project like that, call Jeff. If you're gonna buy material and stuff from us, then we'll steer you in the right direction to profile the foam stuff. So, you wanna talk about the concrete? Let me start this concrete one, and you can finish it. So, Jeff's got a lot of experience with concrete decking in terms of deck systems, waterproofing, and those kind of things. And we see those out here. There's an era of buildings here that were built with concrete roofs and concrete trusses, and they're really strong and durable. And the only problem is when the roof starts going bad, these things, you know, the roof substrate will leak, get the concrete wet, and then it spalls the rebar inside, and they have different issues, right? So there's some other treatments that need to happen. And actually, I know of one building that we went and looked at that building ended up getting torn down instead of fixed and re-roofed, and it could have been fixed. That was interesting. So there's some treatment and stuff that we can help with that most roofing companies wouldn't know about. It's just something that we kind of have a specialty background in the concrete roofs and the wall stuff. So Jeff can talk a little bit about the densifiers and some of the prep and some of the things we can do to help you guys structurally, which will help sell your jobs, or if it's your building, that there's a way to fix those things instead of tear them down. And Jeff's got a lot of experience in that.
And we've got a great line of densifiers and sealers that we recommend for concrete. It's our deep penetrating densifier, which will penetrate 2 to 4 inches into the concrete. It's a great to add if you're even doing stucco walls or any type of concrete product. It's just a pre-waterproofing. It's just gonna, what happens is it'll help, and once it's penetrated, any moisture that hits it will activate it, and it'll gel and fill in the capillaries. So it kind of is continuously waterproofing underneath whatever you're putting over the top of it. So it's just for minimal cost, and the labor is just really easy on doing that application. It was really just a great backup, you know, waterproofing, I should say, but it works really well. And then we have a topical too, which is just a sealer that will go over the top. It's an acrylic type sealer if you want to keep that aesthetics and keep it clear. But you know, for roofs and that, you definitely want to, you know, if you can access the roof and the concrete is porous enough to take the densifier out, you definitely use it. And you just do our standard system over the top of it.
Yeah, and one of the things that damages everything that we've talked about, with the exception of the metal, is that once these substrates get wet, whether it's wood, the wood sheeting in the roof, the foam, or the concrete, once they're wet and there's a coating over the top of them, there's a moisture vapor drive issue with them, and so that's where the blistering comes from. It's one of the reasons that the acrylic coatings have a bad name, and it's even the silicones. If it gets through and there's silicone coating over the top or acrylic, it doesn't matter, the moisture vapor drive is going to blister that coating. And once that's happened, now you got a big mess. You've got water trapped in there, and you're not going to be able to get the coating to stick to it. So anyway, the first line of defense is the coating to keep the water out, which is why we talk about the perm rating all the time. That's what makes us different than everybody else. We keep the water out, and then you get away from that moisture vapor drive. And in concrete, you want to use the densifiers that Jeff's talking about. So
We'll close with talk a little bit about the warranty.
yeah, let's do that. So we're just going to spend a couple minutes on the warranties today, and some of this, guys, we're going to do a show about this, and we'll try and keep it light. But this is important. If you're a contractor, the warranty part of this is super important. It's really what made me spend my own money and refinance my house and all kinds of stuff to spend money to get to this point today. The warranty thing, you guys, they're less than honest about the warranty you're getting. And there's contractors out here like me that were out here running around thinking that I had material warranties on projects that I didn't. Yeah. And so we're going to tell that story another day. But on our end of it, you know, we've got 10-year and 15-year warranties. We have a 20, but it doesn't make sense to do it that way because it requires a maintenance code anyway. We do it on solar packages sometimes, but there's an easy way to do that. And the big difference with our warranties is they're not prorated. Virtually every warranty out there, you guys, is prorated. All these big companies, they're prorated. We'll dig into that. So the other thing with our warranty, right, is we have a warranty against ponding water, and try to
most
find that.
thing you'll find in there in the hidden sections is they have to have positive drainage or no ponding, and it avoids the warranty. But that's one of the things we put out first, is that we do definitely warranty for ponding.
Yeah, and not only do we have the warranty, we have photos of roofs that are 8, 10, 12, 15 years old that have ponded water their whole life, and you clean the dirt off the roof and look at the coating, and it's not cracked, it's not peeled, it's still waterproof, it's still doing its job 15 years later, and even the new cap sheet materials, right? So we were on a couple of roofs earlier this week that were recovers. That's what we call them here, where they put cap sheet over existing built up, to kind of freshen it up. And this new cap sheet in all the ponding areas are peeling. This stuff's 3 years old. It's not going to make it anywhere close to 15 years. So it's already peeling. So anyway, it's the warranty thing's an issue, and we'll talk about it and try to get some really good examples that maybe we can show you guys here, or we'll at least have the quotes. We'll read their warranties for you. So. And the last part of that is here, if the roof's put on by an approved contractor, and all the transfer things are done and the maintenance has been done on it yearly, then those warranties can be transferred under most circumstances. Right. So there's people that, one of the common things that happens here is someone's going to sell a building. And so instead of putting the building up for sale with a bad roof and having the other side come back and say they need $500,000 credit to do a new $300,000 roof, instead of that happening, you put the roof on, it's energy efficient, it's waterproof, and it's got a warranty that takes that right out of the equation, and the warranty can be transferred as long as the maintenance stuff has been done on it. So that's another thing that we're very unique, and we've done that many times through the years. So.
All right, well, I think it's time to wrap it up.
All right.
Another Thursday.
Yeah, apologize for being late, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll do it again pretty quick.
All right, we'll see y'all later. Have a good night.
All right. See ya.